shadows ashamed. They put a face on the stigma attached to AIDS and have begun to reorient the way we think about the disease by repeating, Africa is done suffering. Africa is done suffering. They've created concepts to bring a face to the inhumanity of the war in the Congo, anarchy in Somalia, and pervasive hunger that is so preventable. They have figured out ways to bring the world to life for our children by bringing enjoyment to the pride and pride to learning. These women are the leaders of Africa of tomorrow, and I am no longer worried.
Yes.
Can they close that bar? That's very irritating. Okay. Thank you. Growing up as a girl child, anywhere on this planet, you were taught very early on to want a prince to carry you off, to take care of you, and all of us have learned that that's not true. The fairy tale promised that there would always be someone to protect us, and there would always be enough love for us, enough shelter for us, enough food for us, enough respect for us, enough loving arms around us. And that's not always true. Many of us grew up in homes that presented challenges. Many of us grew up in homes with no one to protect us. Many of us grew up in homes where the people we trusted to protect us mistreated us. Some of us raised ourselves, and some of us raised our parents. But today, these women stand the absolute personification of beauty, brains, perseverance, strength of character, and leadership. So tonight, it doesn't matter what path they had to walk to reach this place. It doesn't matter the journey that still lies ahead for them. Each of us reached this zenith. Each of them have achieved an amazing milestone in their life. Some of them are 19 years old. They are the leaders of the future, and I am not worried. I had the delegates over to my home the other day, and one of the young ladies asked me how I do what I do. And I didn't really understand the question, but I thought about her question at length over the past couple days, and I realized what she was asking me. She said she wanted to know how to keep going, how to stay focused on your goals until you reach them. How do you make it through? So I'm going to answer that question for her. Because I believe that these young girls can learn from people like me and others in this room who have made mistakes so that they can learn from them and not have to reenact them. Early on, I learned that in order to be the best version of yourself that you can be, you have to use every experience as a lesson. That means the disturbing lessons, the unsettling lessons, the excruciating, painful lessons that happen in all of our lives. You have to master the skill of transforming that fear, disappointment, and pain into an experience to strengthen you so that not only do you get through it, but you recognize that even the worst events in your life is God's way of building you into the highest manifestation of who you can be.
Wow.
And so at every stage in your life, you have to demand from yourself that not only do you not allow anything or anyone to keep the absolute highest version of who you were meant to be from manifesting within you. You don't have to give that to anyone. That is yours. Right? And so tonight, only one of the ladies will walk away with the crown. although each of them deserve it. All of them have worked hard, all of them have sacrificed, all of them have invested to be here. Each one is worthy of the title, but only one is going to get it, right, Fifi? So at the moment when the queen is crowned, there will be disappointment, there will be sadness, but my prayer is that each of the young ladies will use that as an opportunity for growth and an opportunity to propel them onward. The lessons they've learned about leadership and confidence are valuable because across the ocean is a continent waiting to be developed. These beautiful women represent the future of Africa, and they take their brilliant ideas, their knowledge about technology, healthcare, social work, city planning, law, and beauty, and their chances of achieving tremendous success and improving the lives of millions of people is incalculable. Last week, the Commonwealth heads of government met. The last chairman was Trinidad and Tobago. The prime minister was a woman. She passed it to Australia. The prime minister is a woman. And then, the penultimate is the Queen of England. That's a woman. Beyonce was right. Y'all rule the world, right?
It's our time.
So getting back to that fairy tale about every little girl and what we were promised, the life of a princess and all the gold and diamonds that go with it, I'm reminded of a story that my father used to tell me. And I'm going to close with this. But I'm reminded of the story my father used to tell me. It's called Acres of Diamonds. It's a story about an old man named Hafed. And he lived on a farm between two very, very tall mountains on the continent. And this wise man came up to him one day, and Hafed was considered to be a rich man. The man walked up to him today, and he said, the wise man walked up to Hafed and said he wanted to talk to him about diamonds. Hafed didn't know what a diamond was. And then the wise man said, a diamond is a congealed drop of sunlight, which is scientifically true, because it is a deposit of carbon from the sun. The wise man told Hafed that if he had one diamond the size of his thumb, he would be rich forever. He would never, ever have to want for anything. So he heard about the diamonds, and Hafed went off in the world to look for diamonds. He gave his farm, he gave his family to someone to watch over for him. He looked very, very far. He never found diamonds. He eventually died. Penniless and alone. He never found any diamonds. He never found the riches he sought. But unknown to Hafed, right after he left, the very day after he left, the man who he left his farm and his family to noticed a bright flash of light from the white sands of the stream in Hafed's old farm. He pulled out a stone that had an eye of light, reflecting all of the hues of the rainbow. That wise man saw the bright stone, and he said, "That's a diamond. Hafed is back." Hafed was not back. The wise man rushed out to the stream in the middle of this farm that man left and pulled up a handful of diamonds. And so the moral of the story is if Hafed had just stayed where he was, he would have had acres of diamonds, wealth untold. And so as we look to Europe, United States, Asia, and all these other places for our acres of diamonds, the truth is that when you are an African, you don't have to go far for opportunity, achievement, and fortune. The resources are all there in Africa. It's a continent of prosperity, a continent of tremendous potential. But her greatest potential are the delegates tonight. Because the greatest potential of Africa does not lie under the earth, under the ground. It lies above the ground in the brilliant minds of these beautiful women that will carry us into the future. So use your lives for good. Use your beauty only for positive achievements, and use the greatest gift that God has given you, which is your very life, to build a great and greater Africa for all of us, and for those unborn. And I wish all of the delegates the best. God bless you all, and one love.